Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to bring you my fire staff hatchet build. It does a lot of damage, great mobility, and you can absolutely shred people. So here we're just going to light attack this guy down. We start shredding his HP, 3k attack, 2ks. He gets his defy death proc, but we just don't stop the pressure there and just continue to pump him full of light attacks. Here we managed to chase down this bow player and close out the kill just before the match ends. We hit this guy with a root. We immediately one-shot this guy. Raging Torrent does so much damage, man. I am loving this ability. This allows you to pump and shred people. You just delete them immediately while having very good sustain, allowing you to heal yourself up in the midst of combat, making you surprisingly tanky. We end up finding this guy on the road here. We hit a nice pillar into the fireball, hit him with the social distancing, and then relentless torrent him down. Finish off with some light attack. The tracking on the hatchet is absolutely insane, man. If you catch anyone without stamina and you just hit them with raging torrent, and they're pretty much screwed. We have an arena fight here where I chase down this guy, hit him with some nice light into the torrent there. 4.5k there, shredding him. He tries to run away, but we close out the kill with that big fireball. I run away here with the burnout, waiting for cooldowns. He's out of stam. Gonna light attack him down. He roots me, but I just hit raging torrent, closing out the kill. For our armor choice, we're gonna be light. If you want to be the more brawler and like better trading, you would go medium, but light is more of the assassin type playstyle, so you can go light or medium with this build. Either one is up to you. If you are going to go the light route, I recommend featherweight with 2 glacial tarn pieces. So we have our helmet and our feet here. And then we have a light gloves and light pants. Ideally, you want enchanted ward and slash conditioning on these 2 pieces. Those are very nice 2 perkers to get. On our boots here, we have elemental enchanted ward and elemental enchanted ward. I would like slash here as well, slash, and then slash on my featherweight as well. You can also go shirking heals on this build, so you can run, let's say you want to drop blood drinker, you would run Ankh here, and then just run all shirking heals here, so when you roll you get a big juicy heal. That is the other way to run it. If you don't want to run blood drinker and you want to be more assassin-y, you would run Ankh with all shirking heals. For our hatchet here, we have rogue, keen berserk, and keenly empowered. I would want keen berserk still my weapon. The penetrating backstab, we ignore 27% of the target's armor is ideal. And then play crits is the 3rd perk of choice I would like to have, so people don't get healed as much, since you're going to mainly be going for the backline players like the healers and the bow users, and it's very frustrating when they get healed all the way back up to full HP, and it really sucks. For our fire staff here, we have the Inferno, the artifact of choice. I chose to put Frost Attunement on there just simply because it's the best thing you can put, since you can't really run Flame Attunement here since people will stack a lot of fire resist. So the Frost Attunement will do just more damage than Flame Attunement, since we're running no fire harnessing on any of my gear, and we're not running it on my ring either. So having Frost Attunement here is just better. We have Moonstone and Opal here for our 2 weapons. Opal, since we want the extra healing, that's why we don't run a rune glass here, because I want the extra healing that the Opal gives, because you can't heal off dots with blood drinker. If you're running Ankh, you can run double rune glass here instead. That's completely fine. And then we run Moonstone here. 20% damage while all your active abilities are on cooldown. Very easy to proc with your hatchet. Once you pop berserk, it's technically on cooldown. Same with raging torrent. So now all I have to do is throw social distancing, and now everything is on cooldown. I get that 20% bonus damage. I would run either Dark Ascent here, or I would run Stoneform. Stoneform has like more survivability, cleanse. This is like more damagey and you get more lifesteal. Either one would work. I would just choose whichever one you want. Order of Merit, I want Shirking and Power and a Protection. Ideally, I would want Divines here. If I was able to have a perfect 3 perk, it would be Divine, Shirking and Power, and Thrust Protection. I sadly don't have that Shirking Power. It's very good because it gives you 21% free empower whenever you dodge. Super nice to have. And then Blood Drinker, slash damage, of course, since our assassination comes more from the hatchet than the fire staff, but our fire staff has some very nice poke damage, and it can definitely chunk people pretty nice. That cans for motion, regenerating, and just gain a stack of 8% damage for 5 seconds after blocking. You get this from a quest on the main story. If you delete it, you cannot get it again, so just keep that in mind. Blood Drinker you get from Starstone mutation. Inferno you get from the Forge mutation, so right here. And featherweight, my artifact chest piece. We come over here to Elysian Wilds, and you get it from farming the bird at the top of this little circle here. As for our consumables, we have our honing stones. You want to run regenerating serums in arenas since they're infinite, but outside of arenas, I generally just will run my regen pots here since it's a lot cheaper. And then we have our tier 3 honing stones. That's generally what I'll use because once again, they're cheaper than tier 5s and they get the job done. So I'm happy with that. You can run gemstone dust or oak flesh if you want as well. Then next up we have sunrise. Reduce duration of dots over time effects on you by 20% for 40 minutes. Huge for those pesky fire staff users. And then just your attribute food of choice. It does not really matter. Just choose whatever attribute food you want that will allow you to play the build. Now, if you don't have deckhand promotion, I recommend grabbing this earring right here, the wood grain earring. I like this in a lot of my medium builds. Fortifying toast, refreshing and regenerating. This consumables are 10% faster. You get regenerating 0.52 health every second. And then fortifying toast, gain 20% fortify for 8 seconds after you drink a potion. Absolutely huge for more survivability. Since we are running featherweight, we still have decent resistances. As you can see, we have 1200 physical and 1100 elemental. If I slap this and just drink a health potion, right, my resistances go way up to 1435 and 1366. And it's very easy to have this as 100% uptime if you drink mana potions with it. So, because mana potions are only on a 15-second cooldown, so it's very easy to have a very high uptime on the fortifying toast. In terms of the way I slot my gems here, I have 10 slash, 20 thrust, 26 fire, and then I have a few slash con pieces right here and here. So I have additional 10%. So I have 20% slash resist, 20% thrust, and 26% fire. Now for your gems, I recommend just going whatever you're fighting the most. That's what I recommend putting into your gear. I generally like to have slash resistance on my armor or shirking heals as my. And that is simply because most slash damaging weapons, such as like the hatchet or the sword or the great sword, are like they'll hit you multiple times. Once they hit you once, you're gonna have basically 100% uptime on the conditioning, allowing you to tank more of their attacks and abilities, just give you more overall survivability. Now I will go over how to run this in medium later when I talk about the best in slot medium setup. Let's jump into our attributes here. For attributes, I recommend you can run anywhere between 100 con to 200 con. Anywhere in here is fine. You just basically have more survivability. You always want 350 strength though, no matter what. This is a must, so let's go 350 strength. And now you have a choice. Do I want 100 con? If you go 100 con, you would go all the way up to 100 dex here and just keep the con super low. But if you want the most survivability, you would go all the way up to 200, but 150 is a good point. If you go 150, you would go all the way up to 25 dex here to get the 5% crit chance, and then you would just put the rest of the points into strength. This is a good balance between survivability and damage. Full damage is 100 con, and then if you want to be a bit more tanky and light, then you would go 200 con with the rest of the points into strength. So those are the couple ways you can set up your attributes. 100 con is really fun because you do a lot of damage. You basically just one-shot people. Your hatchet just shreds. It just comes down to how you want to play the build. I generally will look to see if I'm fighting range. If I'm fighting range, I like to sit behind cover. We're not super tanky, so I'll try and LOS as much as I can, because you will die very fast, especially with all the muskets and OPR and the fire staffs. They will shred you. So I will then just poke like this, go behind cover, hit a roll, and then if they get on top of me like this, right, you will just then switch to hatchet. Use social distancing. You can either run away, but if you want to fight, you will then hold W when you throw social distancing so you don't jump back like I did. And then you can just use Raging Torrent, attack, dodge whenever they're going to hit you, attack, and then dodge. All right, on to our weapon masteries. For our fire staff here, it's Fireball, Pillar of Fire, and Burnout here. Burnout's our main movement. Fireball does a bunch of damage, and Pillar of Fire here does quite a bit of damage and strike the match. You deal more damage when there's more stacks of smolder on them, so you generally want to use Pillar of Fire later, so after Fireball and like a couple light and heavy attacks, so they have more smolder stacks on them, so your Pillar of Fire will hit harder. Burnout is generally either used for movement, or you can angle it like this and then turn around like this to get the explosion so it double hits. That will proc the explosion damage and this, so you'll do about 230%, giving you some nice extra burst combo potential. Watch it burn. Critical hits with the fire staff inflict a stack of smolder, so super nice. Anytime you crit, you get smolder stacks. Combat speed. When you activate an ability, you get 10% haste. You can definitely switch this one out if you want, but I like it. Kindle applies smolder stacks, lasts 20% longer. Whenever a fire staff smolder effect deals damage, gain 10% fortify for 2 seconds. Super nice for increasing your tankiness. All attacks deal 10% more base damage against burning or smolder targets. A must. You have Prophet of the Fire God. While holding the fire staff, your critical damage is increased by 15%. Runes of Helios, 20% in power when you stand inside a rune. Spell Slinger, your fire staff abilities gain 10% extra critical strike chance. Huge. Singe, light and heavies will get smolders. That's why you like the light and heavy between abilities. You can also animation cancel, like heavying into a fireball like that, or like doing something like that where you light into a pillar. Or you can also roll cancel into a burnout. Clear Mind while holding a fire staff, but 50% mana gain 5% in power. And then spell focus, heavy attacks will now restore 5% of your mana. This is really nice since we don't have any mana sustain on this build besides our mana pots. So having the extra heavy attacks to regenerate some mana is super nice. You can grab clear classing if you want, but I just don't think you're not going to be getting hit every 3 seconds if you're in the fight. Since with all the range and stuff, it just takes one range flare to hit you for this to proc. Flare is kind of useless. You could run Pillar of Fire perk here to get some extra mana back with Pillar. Or you could run a catch here if you need some more mana as well. Direct down with Fire Staff restores 10% of your max mana and reduces your Fire Staff ability cooldowns by 7%. This can be a nice passive as well. Onto the Hatchet here. For the Hatchet, we have Berserk, Raging Torrent, and Social Distancing. Super strong. Berserk gives us 20% damage, 20% haste. You gain 5% lifesteal, remove all stuns and slows. You cannot be interrupted and staggered, so you only can be hit by hard CC. Frenzy Purge, remove all bleed, burns, and poison effects from you when you hit below 30% health. Super strong against all odds. Increase base damage by 10% for every enemy within 5 meters. Very nice. Abilities and heavy attacks deal 20% more base damage to targets below 30% health. I like this one. You can definitely run something else, but this one's pretty nice I find to have. Undeath, you get a second life. Super nice, man. Like the haste passive on Torrent here is super good. If you need to quickly get out of a situation, you can pop Berserk and then just hit them once with ranging and roll, and you'll get both haste. Pretty much making you at haste stack here, because this gives you 20 and then this gives you 20, so you have 40% right away. If you need to get away, that's super good and reliable combo to do so. And then Final Blow forms another attack, deals 120% weapon damage. Absolutely huge. Aim Throw, if someone tries to run away, you can just quickly throw a hatchet at them and finish them off. We are using the Fire Staff, so we do have range, so you can definitely drop this if you want for another perk. That is completely up to you. Critical Throw, though, increases crit chance of all melee attacks by 5% and range by 10. Super nice. Social Distancing, this gives us like our little dash. And when it hits the opponent, it will give us movement speed and it will root them, so hitting this is very important. You can target lock on this and it will actually hit like the vast majority of times if you just target lock while throwing social. So if you are not the best with aiming, you can just target lock, throw social, and it will generally hit. Exploitation, attacks deal 10% base damage to target with an active debuff, which they should always have since we have the Fire Staff on. And then we have Adrenaline Rush, dodging within 2 seconds of hitting a target will consume 25% less stamina. This is not like instant, it has like a 10-15 second cooldown. Same with this passive. Regenerating crits has a cooldown. I don't know what it is, but it's not like 100% uptime, so keep that in mind. That's why I don't run it. If you want to use heavy attacks, Relentless Fury with Fortifying Strikes, if you like weaving in more heavies. I personally don't, so I don't run these. But if you do, that is an option for you. All right, for the medium setup, I read light, heavy, medium, heavy, and then light tumblers here. We want Slash, Enchanted, and Critical Retribution here. Gain 10% crit chance for 7 seconds when taking a critical hit. This is nice because us being able to crit more gives us more healing. You can switch this out for shirking heals if you like, otherwise I would keep it. Slash, Conditioning, Enchanted Ward is to help us against all the people that are going to be killing us the most, which is other melee, or Enchanted Ward for all the range users pelting us. Elemental, Enchanted Ward, and Slash Conditioning. Frigid Dawn here, absolutely huge for overall tankiness. Hasted Vigor, Potency of incoming damage over time effect reduced by 7% per armor piece with this perk. After taking a hit with inflicted with a dot, gain 10% haste. This is huge for extra mobility, and I highly recommend slotting this on one of your pieces of gear. Empowering Fireball. Fireball deals 8% more damage and additional 12% to targets above 50% health. I still think this is nice to have simply because Fireball is a very high damaging ability, so having this is very nice. Slash conditioning, once again, we're stacking on the slash conditioning here so we can run more damage reduction on other types. Elemental Enchanted Ward, hugely good perks, best perks in the game. Then we have tumblers here, slash conditioning. When you successfully dodge an attack, you 15% empower, 25% fortify. You also heal for 200 plus 2% of your max HP. Huge. Divine's Thrust and Shirking Power is what we want on our amulet. Blood Drinker, we want slash, hardy, and leeching. Gives us 25% lifesteal, 25% damage reduction, which sucks, but this gives us a lot of extra survivability. And then the Wood Grain Earring giving us another fortify, making us super tanky. So we have 45% fortify with all a very high uptime, making us insanely tanky, while we have a lot of lifesteal with refreshing toast and regenerating. Now, if you don't want to run Blood Drinker, that is completely fine. I'd switch it out for Ankh here and then run Shirking Heals on everything instead. So you'd run Shirking Heal instead of slash, Shirking here, and Shirking here, and then just run Ankh instead, and then just run a normal ring. And that is simply because Shirking Heals will give us a bunch of extra healing if you want still more damage and you don't want to get the damage reduction that Blood Drinker gives you. Or you can run Endless Thirst, another option, totally up to you. Down here, we're going to be running the Hatchet with the Infernal. The perks I want are Keen Berserk, Penetrating Backstab, and Plate Crits to stop those pesky heals, as I mentioned earlier. And then the Moonstone and the Opal is our two gems of choice. You can go Rune Glass, but I would only go Rune Glass if you choose to drop Blood Drinker. And then Frost Attunement, just the best thing I think to put on the Fire Staff, since no one's really running Frost Resist in the game, so it's very nice. Since we're not running any fire, harnessing our fire on our ring, Frost is just better. And then Fortifying Form with Mending Form here for Stone Form, or you can run the Dark Descent, as I said. Either of those rune stones would work. You can even run Detonate if you want, but I would stick to Heart Rune and Dark Descent. For gems, I recommend having good fire resist, good thrust here, since we don't need any slash because we have all the slash conditioning. So I'm running 20% fire, 25% thrust, 25% slash, and then I have two opals here just to help against the more elemental, because when you're fighting, let's say, a musket player or a bow player slotting a different gem, or against like the Great Axe Void Blade, these elemental gems can come in handy. If you're more scared against those types of things, I would drop like 3 of these fire gems, 1, 2, 3, and just run it pure opals here to get the most elemental damage resist against most types, and I would just keep 1 fire gem. It just depends on what you're seeing in your OPR and 3v3s, and I would just run whatever you're fighting the most. If you guys are wondering stat distribution for this build, it would be the same as the light build, either 100 to 200 con. 350 strength is a must, and then you can put 100 points into dex or 25 into dex and just go more into strength. All of those options are good. Just choose whichever fits your playstyle better. If you guys did enjoy the video, it would mean a lot to me if you hit that like button and subscribe. And with that, I'll be streaming over on Twitch and YouTube, so make sure to come check that out. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. I got one more clip for you guys at the end here. We hit him with the fireball. They're pelting me with the bow. I pop Berserk here, go for the Raging Torrent there, shredding this guy down, dodging in and out, trying to dodge the attacks and proc my Shirking Power. We end up running away. This guy takes a massive fireball to the face. We hit him with some nice light attacks there, chunking him down further. We get hit with a big spin there, shredding our health bar, but that social distancing was absolute peak here. We go into the corner here. We're 1 HP, they're 1 HP, and I pop Berserk instead of light attacking. Big mistake by me.